Hello, welcome to Recovery Demystified, a show where we explore our relationship to substances from a radical, non-religious, and empowering lens. Our sobriety is not a purity contract. It is an invitation to become curious about ourselves and find our own unique paths to growth and healing. If you've been questioning the role of alcohol or drugs in your life and haven't found the resources that you need, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hello. Welcome back to Recovery Demystified. My name's Early. I'm so happy to have y'all here today. Today we do a really fun follow-up episode with JT, who told her story back in March on the podcast. And it ended with her being like, oh man, we're out of time. Like, I want to talk more about recovery. I love recovery. So she came back in December and we crawled back into that little podcast booth again at the library and just talked purely recovery. The good stuff, the challenges, skill building, all kind of stuff. I asked some nosy questions. We talk about the asexual, aromantic spectrum when I get a little nosy. We talk about ADHD, coping skills with that for like school and anxiety and hating cleaning. And we talk about social media, depression, finding purpose. We really get into a lot of different topics in this episode. And I'm really stoked to put it out at the beginning of the year because it's like a really positive one. You know what I mean? We're skipping the trauma and we're just talking about personal growth and emotional tolerance and like loving ourselves in recovery. And there's this false notion that when we quit drinking or using drugs or whatever, that we're going to be like missing out on something, like, oh no, my life's going to be boring or it's going to suck or something. Like, what am I going to do if I can't drink anymore? And it's like, sure, you're going to miss out on some things. You're going to miss out on that 3 a.m. anxiety wake up. You're going to miss out on some hangovers. You're going to miss out on dropping money off places you don't need to be dropping it off at. You're going to be missing out on, all that really important stuff. Shame and guilt and all the bullshit is what you're going to be missing out on. And the cool thing is, in recovery, fucking anything is possible. Like, JT starts to go to nursing school and we talk about the imposter syndrome that goes along with previously having been an addict and being like, whoa, is this really my life now? So you're not missing out on shit if you're gonna quit drinking. Like, that's the addicted voice trying to convince you to stay stuck. And the cool thing about recovery is that we have no idea what's gonna happen next and all options are on the table. And I'm so excited to have this just deep dive into what does long-term recovery look like and what are the challenges and where are we growing. So I'm really grateful for JT for coming on this episode. And also, I just made a Patreon for the podcast. I know that there's folks that are pretty loyal about tuning in every week. And I just got an email from someone in Maine about the podcast. And I'm just like, oh, crazy. Like, people that are not in Northwest Arkansas are actually finding the podcast somehow. And it's growing and I think that people appreciate it, and there's going to be a bunch of silly little different tiers of giving, like dime bag and 30 rack. Oh my gosh, because in the end we are just silly addicts and it's fun to poke a little bit of fun at ourselves about it. But if you enjoy the show and you want to support the production of it, which is like literally just me, please go ahead and sign up for our Patreon, and that would be super helpful. And I would appreciate people contributing at any level. So look for a link to that in the description. And without further ado, here is the follow-up episode with JT. Hello, JT. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. We had you on, what month was that we did your first interview?
Oh my goodness. I don't even
It was like in the springtime at some point, right? You were really towards the beginning, like March or April or something.
Was that this year?
That was this year, because my first episodes were around dry January. So
Oh, shoot. Yeah. I didn't realize it was, my concept of time is kind of crazy sometimes.
It's all good. I know it feels like it's been a really long time,
it really
honestly.
Is, yeah.
Yeah, but I guess will you reorient the listeners, let them know your pronouns and just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is JT. I also go by Jordan, but I'm she, her. And I was here back at the beginning of the year talking about all the things that led me to get sober. And then now, really, I just want to talk about all the good stuff that happens when you get sober and kind of show people that there's the other side of everything.
Hell yeah. I super appreciate your time and energy with that. I remember, like, ever since we ended our interview the last time, I remember being like, oh, you know, we're getting towards the end. And you were like, wait, no, I love talking about recovery. And I've thought about it ever since then.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, I had this idea of just from listening to other recovery podcasts that, oh, this should be like 45 minutes or an hour. And then as the year has gone on and I've sort of like grown in my podcasting or whatever, I've been like, oh, actually people's stories are just as long as they are. And people who listen regularly know that even the last one, Hannah's, went into like 3 parts because hers was 3 hours. And it's been in the back of my mind like, oh, JT had more to say.
Yeah.
and yeah, so I reached out recently and she was like, fuck yeah, I definitely want to come back on and talk about it. So have you been consecutively still like not drinking and not smoking and off of pharmaceuticals and everything since the last time we talked?
Yeah, I have been. I actually just on the 17th, I just hit 2 years, 8 months, no alcohol. And I have like my I Am Sober app where it has literally like all 7 things that I've quit, or 7, 8, I don't even know how many at this point. But yeah, still off of everything since 2023. It was April 2023, I quit alcohol. June, it was nicotine, and August, it was weed. Oh, wait, in June, nicotine and pharmaceuticals. And yeah, so still off of everything.
Yeah, and as I remember, the beginning of it for you was a lot of like, there was some spite involved because I think your friend was like, you're not going to really quit vaping. And you're like, yes, the fuck I am.
Yeah.
And I remember there's a lot of like walking and sort of body movement type of stuff. And then a lot of podcasts and books in the beginning there. Mm-hmm. How have your recovery resources developed since then?
Yeah, I'll be honest, like at the beginning, I definitely feel like you kind of are like, suffocated maybe is not the right word, but you're kind of just like head first into everything and anything and seeing what works. But I do believe after a certain amount of time, you kind of settle into your sobriety and some things stay, some things go. But really it's more of like now it's practice, like you're doing it. So I feel like a lot of the things that I was doing, maybe not so much now because it's like every day I'm just like practicing those like things I read or the things that does that make sense?
Yeah, you take the like learning that you experienced at the beginning and whatever's working for you, you're putting it into practice.
Right. And I feel like it becomes like, then I was like walking a lot and I was reading a lot and I was really like, I just felt like everything had like opened up and I was just like, I have to learn everything. And I think that's a little bit of the mania as well when you quit everything all at once. So then after a while, you kind of like settle into it. And now I just, I work full time and I'm in school full time. So a lot of my learning is my degree. So I have my like energy is put on that a lot more. So that's like my hobby now. And then of course, like, I'm a very like active person in general with my job, but just having to be on my feet. And I have my 2 dogs, of course, that I walk a few times a day. And yeah, I mean, I still love reading any self-help, but I do feel like I kind of like, I don't want to say like burn myself out, but like I was like, all right, girl, you got it. Like I think you got it. Like now it's time to like just practice what you preach, and show people. And that's what I love is like going to work and showing up as this authentic, sober person for everyone at my job to see. And I could be that guiding light in some ways for people I work with, but even like people I serve tables, like the guests that come in, like I love to tell my story if they're willing to listen. And if not, I'm happy with silent service too. Like that's cool. But yeah.
Cool. So what type of things that you learned in the beginning are now in your like regular practice? Like what does a day in the life of JT look like?
Yeah. So, well, something that just popped into my mind is like, I remember reading or somewhere it was like cravings only last like what, like 8 to 15 minutes or 8 to 12 minutes or something like that. And, obviously, especially working in the service industry, you're going to have bad days, right? Like not every shift is always going to be like rainbows and butterflies. So I do notice that when I have those moments of like, oh, this fucking sucks. Like I'm feeling like this is a moment I would be like, oh, I'm gonna drink tonight, or this is a moment where I'll go hit my vape. I just literally say that out loud. I'm like, damn, I'm having a craving. Like, that's crazy. Like, I won't have them for so long, but then if something bad's happening, it'll pop up. And I'm just like, I notice it, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I named that emotion. I named that feeling that came up, and I'll even say it to my coworkers. And I think sometimes they're like, oh, shit. Like, they kind of get scared. I'm like, no, don't worry. Like, I'm not about to jump behind the bar or anything, like, or steal your vape out of your hand. It's just, it's true, and this is how it is. And it's not always going to be perfect, but I recognize that. That's, like, something that I would say is, like, kind of a practice. But as far as, like, what I'm doing daily, it's really just, right now school just ended. So I'm working on getting my nursing degree. And so I just finished all my prereqs that I've been working on since the beginning of 2023, like right before I got sober. I started college. And so I just finished all my prereqs. I took my nursing entrance exam and passed that. And now I have my interviews in January for the program. And it's, my GPA's high. Like, everything's good. Like, there's no way I'm not getting in this program. Let me tell you, like, there's no freaking way. And so a lot of my daily time has been, I'll wake up in the morning, I'll either have class or I need to study. And so I'll be studying for it could be 4, 5, 6 hours. And then I go to work at like 3 or 4, and then I'm at work, and then I come home and I might watch some trashy reality TV. That's like my favorite thing. I love watching people's behaviors. Like, I love that shit. So, and then, just chill with my dogs on my couch and kind of do it all over again. Sometimes it's hard doing school and work to have a social life. I basically have to be like, sorry, everyone, there's no plans I'm making. And when I'm in school, because I take it very seriously, I feel like when you're older, you just want to do well, and you're like, I'm paying for this shit, so I better fucking do good. And that's kind of what I've been up to, really. And I will say, when I get out of school, it's like, what do I do with myself? Like, I'm like, oh shit, like, I have all this time again. So it's fun to like call up some friends and be like, hey, we haven't seen each other in like 8 months. Let's meet up, go to lunch, go to dinner, or, just have that extra free time where I'm not like consumed by academic worth.
Totally. Do you feel like the structure of the regularity of like the school and work adds to your recovery, or do you feel like it's overwhelming and adds to stress in recovery? Like, where are you at with the structure of everything?
That's a great question. I mean, I really do believe that I believe for myself that I strive in structure and routine. And I would want to say most people that are sober probably do need that, and that structure and routine for anything. I mean, whether it's school or just a hobby that you have, something that you can do daily that can get you through the day. I think that having purpose every day is really important, and without getting like too spiritual or, but I'm
get however you want.
Okay. All right, cool. I really do believe that having like purpose in your everyday is what's going to keep you sober. And me going to school and knowing that I have this end goal, becoming a nurse, and knowing that, I do want to get out of the restaurant business. It's true. I have been doing it for like 10 years, and I do love it, and it's great money. But, the truth is I want a job that gives me the benefits back that I truly believe I deserve. And so working towards that goal is like everything to me. And if it wasn't school, it would be something. It would have to be something, because like I personally can't live every day and not have something to look forward to, something to do. I really do believe that that's when you're stuck in the mindset of like, it doesn't matter, who cares? Well, okay, then you're probably going to drink. You're probably going to get your life like fucked up again. So you really have to find a purpose with something, anything.
Yeah, and our brains use up so much of our body's energy that if you're kind of bumbling throughout your day, not sure what's going to happen next, then your brain gets a bit exhausted, and it makes it harder to make responsible choices with like impulse control and stuff like that. But if you have a good structure and you know what's coming next, your brain isn't expending all of its like precious energy on being confused about what's going on in your day. So I agree. Differing amounts of structure for different people is going to be like super helpful.
Yeah. Definitely like the thought process. Like I struggled a lot with like compulsive, like rumination thoughts. And I noticed when I'm not, my body and my mind is like, girl, you're not doing something. Like, get up and, and some people have like a paralyzing feeling of like, they don't know where to start. And it's like, I think Mel Robbins said this. I know Mel Robbins, some people are like, whatever. But she says like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 rule. I think she said this, where it's like, get just whatever it is, stand up. Whatever you're doing. And if you're paralyzed in your thoughts and you're just sitting there, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, stand up and just pick anything. Start there. And then that ball is rolling. You're in the momentum. Like, you're moving your body, like you're doing something. So you're going to continue. You're going to pick up another task that you need to do or whatever.
Yeah, starting small and just the hardest part is beginning. That's for sure.
100%.
I want to circle back to something you said earlier, which was when you are having a hard time and experience a craving, that you don't suppress it or deny it or try to squish it and make it go away, but you like name it and say that it exists and like speak that it's true. But then you also don't buy into the fact that when your brain tells you want to drink or vape, that you have to do that. And I think that that's like really important emotional maturity and emotional intelligence, is to understand what we're feeling and also understand that we don't have to act on every thought that we have.
100%, yeah.
And I'm curious how else you implement that in your life? Or
No, a thought came up immediately.
Yeah.
Anytime that I feel like that relates to anytime someone's saying something to me at work that maybe I don't agree with, or maybe that I'm not aligned with. When you're younger, the first thing you usually do, you kind of want to fight that person in a way, or you're like, that's stupid that they think this way, or and it's like, you just recognize that everyone has their own situation going on. And we don't all have to have the same opinions, and understanding that everyone's like kind of on their own little journey. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of exhausting yourself with expending too much mental energy, I also definitely can relate to that when I was younger, trying to convince people that they all needed to think how I think.
Exactly.
And if you can take all that energy and just turn it inwards towards yourself and your own peace and healing, that would be a lot more emotionally responsible for sure. Yeah,
I think it's like, so recognizing and like naming that emotion, it's just, you are, like you mentioned, like you are not your thoughts. You're like the spectator of them. And so when these thoughts pop up, you said I recognize them, and it's kind of the same thing with like when I'm having conversations with people that maybe might not understand me. I just have to meet them where they're at and understand that it's okay they don't understand me or what's going on. And that's something that is kind of hard when you get sober, is how many people want to like question what you're doing and like kind of almost derail you, and they'll try, without even recognizing that they're doing it. Do you get what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah. And it's like just classic projection usually, where it's like your sobriety is holding up a mirror to them that they didn't want to look at.
Yes.
And they see in it their own problems. And instead of having the wherewithal to be able to confront their own problems, they look at the mirror and they attack it instead.
Yeah. And my friend, she always tells, one of my best friends actually, she told me, every time you happen to bring up that you're sober around people, they always do the thing where, well, I don't drink that much, or, well, I only have one a night. She's like, why do they always feel the need to tell you this? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like, I mentioned it as a mirror situation. Like, you're kind of like showing up as this person that they maybe have never realized it could be real, or could they fathom that that's a possibility for themselves. So it immediately questions their own behavior, and they spit it out at you instead of like keeping it in their brain.
Yeah, because also when we're like using substances to that extent, it's kind of hard to do that self-reflection work,
Oh my God, yeah.
Nearly impossible, sort of, until you
lack
clear
of
your head.
self-awareness there.
The impulsive projections, are just sort of a reflection of that mirror that the person isn't ready to see.
Right.
I was also interested in your experience in going to school. I know last time we had mentioned that you maybe have either undiagnosed or unmedicated ADHD. And I know that can complicate a lot of things with like impulsivity and executive function and, like you were talking earlier, analysis paralysis and decision-making fatigue and all sorts of stuff. How have you balanced executive function struggles with school and also with being in recovery?
Well, I will say first that school became a habit that I did every day. And also I'll say that getting sober helped me so much with all of those things you mentioned, executive dysfunction, analysis paralysis, and all that. Like my ADHD symptoms, even my OCD thoughts. When I quit all substances, it took a while to recalibrate, but eventually those symptoms of all these things that I had growing up, I mean, I got diagnosed with ADHD when I was 7, but we're kind of unsure because my dad had just passed a couple years prior. So was it trauma? Was it ADHD? I couldn't sit still in class. So all of those things, I feel like obviously I still have them and I still have to deal with that. But they definitely lessened whenever I got sober. So with school, though, it's very much a practice. Every day I'm opening something. And, when you're younger, procrastination is so fun. You think it's like the best thing ever. You're like, let me just wait to do everything until the last minute, and then you're freaking out. That is not me. I hate doing that. I don't like to procrastinate anymore because I know the feeling it gives me when I procrastinate, and it's the worst anxiety in the world. So with school, I do it. I pick up something that I need to be doing every day. I'm looking at something. If there's a small break of 2 or 3 days, great. But for the most part, there's every day I'm looking at something because it is such a science-heavy major that I'm doing. So I really don't have a choice. And yeah, it's just a habit that I created. Now, when I'm sitting there studying, I have I do a lot of frequencies for music to study to, or I'll do classical, or I'll do brown noise, pink noise, whatever noise I need to kind of lock me into the studying mindset. And my phone goes on Do Not Disturb. I hide it behind the laptop because there are many times where I pick that thing up when I shouldn't. And I tell myself I can have breaks here and there because with ADHD, you can't, it doesn't matter if you're looking at it, your mind can wander. So you need those small breaks. But yeah, I hope that answers the question a little bit.
No, that makes sense. Also, we had mentioned earlier when we were texting about anxiety with tests, which I know is a common thing with ADHD too.
Oh my God.
And a lot of times when we're in addiction, we have anxiety. You can make it go away by getting fucked up. So, so now you're confronted with the anxiety. It's a healthy anxiety, I don't know how extreme it is for you, but I think it makes sense to be anxious before you take a test. But how do you cope with that in your education now?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's another thing. If I study every fucking day, by the time I get to that test, I should know the information. So my anxiety is going to be less because I'm prepared. So first I would say preparing is number one. And because everything I do it at 100 million% because I'm fucking crazy. That's why I study so fucking hard so that when I get there, I'm not freaking out as much as I normally would. Now, I would have a lot more anxiety if I was not prepared. But yes, my anxiety shows up and I'm like buzzing. My heart's racing. My body, I need to shake my legs. I'm tapping my leg the whole time during a test. But I agree to an extent that anxiety. So, okay, here. I took my nursing entrance exam a few weeks ago. Leading up to the day, I had a few 8-hour study sessions because I was like, there's no way in hell that I'm about to go to this test unprepared and not leave everything on the table. But when I got in there, after all that studying, of course, I still had really bad anxiety. And I was sitting there and I was like, am I about to have a panic attack? It was I was like, girl, no, you're not. You're ready to take this test. You have energy that's building up because you've been waiting for this moment. Now let's go. And I did it and I passed and I got a pretty good score on it. I'm very happy about it. But that anxiety is going nowhere. It might lessen because you're more prepared. It's kind of like if you are doing like a speech, you're going to recite that speech over and over and over and over again. It's the same thing. You want to be prepared. But the anxiety still shows up. I just have to be like, I know what this is. It's naming it again. Just being like, I know what this is. It's my body's way of like getting me ready for this. And there's nothing, once I name it and I'm like, it's not going to overcome me. And now it kind of like lessens a little bit and I kind of ease into the anxiety. Yeah. I mean, it's just like noticing it's there, but also knowing that anxiety is meant to keep you alive. It's meant to like let you know like, hey, you're human, you're alive. I do believe that it worked in my favor, because if I didn't have that anxiety, maybe I would have just laid on my couch watching TV and never studied and thought I was just going to go in there and figure it out. No, it makes me have to push myself. And I'm also someone who has to study more than the average person. Because of my ADHD, because of my, it takes me a while to learn some concepts. They don't just jump in my brain. I'm like, oh, now I know it. No, it takes repetition.
Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, it sounds like that emotional tolerance skill just kind of works for everything across the board. Works for cravings, works for dealing with other people, works for anxiety. Being on the cusp of a panic attack it's no longer helpful anxiety. Then it's like prohibitive anxiety.
Oh my God, it was so bad.
But yeah, to be able to, have that emotional tolerance and literacy to be like, I'm experiencing anxiety.
Yeah.
I've prepared myself for this test.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I have the anxiety because it's got some sort of benefit in my life, but I'm not going to let it overtake me, and I'm going to let my preparedness work.
Yes.
Is the anxiety and the schooling ever coupled with cravings? Do those pop up at that time?
Honestly, no. The only time my cravings pop up is when I'm at work and like I'm having a lot of like issues with a table. And I think it's because of the location. There's a lot, like I overcame a lot at that job. They've seen me, in 2021 at my worst when I was drinking very heavily up until I got sober. They saw that. So I think that the cravings happened there because I lived there not sober, for so many years. And it's mainly just when I know, like, maybe I have a really needy table that's like really starting to like irk me. They're one tripping me back and forth, but I have 8 other tables that need my attention. And I'm like, and then this table had an allergy that no one fucking told me about. And now they're like about to die. No, I'm just kidding. That's crazy. But like, you know what I mean? Like, It's just like things like that where I'm like, oh, fuck, like my night's not going well. It's definitely a control thing. I'm like, shit. But I have to just be like, okay, there's nothing I can do about this. Like, I just have to do my best to move on from the situation. But when I'm at home, I'm in my bubble. Like, I'm good. Now, when I have irritating fights with friends or, like relationship things that happen, that could send me into like a control. Like, I need to figure out the end of this. Like, we need to get to a resolution, but I never feel like, oh, this is like so bad. I'm having a craving. It's more of like, I just need to fix it. Yeah.
So you've worked at the same job, like while you were in the worst of your addiction and while you were getting sober and now?
Yeah.
It makes sense that your body would have memories of that and be like, well, this is what we did in the past,
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of want to check the list and see.
Yeah.
What other stuff? Is there something that has popped into your head that you want to bring up?
I don't know. I'll let you look at the list because...
Let's see. Oh, yeah. So we'd mentioned in one of the text messages that you were talking about staying positive, not listening to self-doubt, and that alcohol is like demonic for making you have like low self-worth type of thoughts.
Yeah. Spam text I sent you after we were trying to figure out where we were going to go with this.
Yes. And like that is honestly so relatable. Like self-esteem issues in active addiction are such a fucking monster. I think because the addicted part of your brain like wants you to feel like shit, because if you don't value yourself, then you're not going to seek recovery. So it can keep you stuck in that sort of like negative, like self-hatred loop.
Yes.
So how have those type of thoughts changed for you? And if something like negative comes up in your brain, does it still happen? And what do you do to work with it now?
Yeah. So I definitely have self-doubt. I have a lot of, oh man, what is it called?
I'm going to do a shot in the dark. Are you trying to say imposter syndrome?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, I always forget my words sometimes. But yeah, I have a lot of that. So the other day I was like talking to someone, I was like, yeah, I'm a science major. And then I was like, wait, did I just say that out loud? Is that true? And I'm like, yeah, you are. Like little things like that where I'm like, oh, wow. Or some days I'll be like, wow, I'm like sober. It's like this clicking realization that like I'm doing this. So I do get self-doubt occasionally, definitely not as much as I did in the beginning of getting sober and also just like in my addiction. So it'll just pop up like, am I going to really achieve this? That's my main thing with like the nursing stuff because it is a very hard degree and it's very competitive, and so that's where that comes in. But as far as like my self-esteem, I would say after getting sober and being where I'm at now, this is the highest I felt like confident-wise about myself. I've gotten to this point where I'm like, wow, I've done so much to better my future. And so I'm very, very proud of myself. But at the same time, there's that like imposter feeling where I'm like, wow, is this really happening? And then, yeah, the thoughts will come in occasionally, but I really am a firm believer of affirmations and like speaking, what you want your life to be. Like I really believe your words are like so, so important. Like you're actively like putting that out in the world. So if you're like, oh, I hate how this shirt looks on me, like for example, like you're putting that out there. So I really try to, when I was getting sober, affirmations were really important to me. And so I really do believe that has stuck with me. And so I try, I'm not much of a negative person. I do get in like my moods, like I'm human. But at the end of the day, I'm always looking for the light and like the positivity of it all. But like I also am like, I'm having a shitty day. Like, sorry everyone at work. Like if I'm like in a low mood, like I'll tell my friend at work, I'm like, hey, I'm not chippery. I lost my whimsy. That's what we've been saying recently. That's what the kids are saying. Yeah, my whimsy's not here today. Sorry. And, and people can tell when they're like, damn, Jordan's not whimsy today. That sucks. Or JT's not whimsy, whatever.
I'm latching onto this, honestly.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That makes me think of, I think it was like Dr. Nicole LePera, or however you say her name, that when I read her book recently, one of them, it was talking about ego stories, which is like when you say, I am, and then you just like let your brain kind of fill in whatever the end of the sentence is. Yeah. And sometimes the ego stories are like, I am a fucking loser. And then you're like, I am fucking too dumb for nursing school, or like, I am a fucking drunk and I can never come back from this shit. But then sometimes the further you get into recovery and the more you work on yourself, it can be like, no, I am a sober person. I am smart. I'm capable. And exactly. I also believe, that the affirmations and the things you tell yourself, your brain hears the messages of the things that you say, and it all is like affecting your belief in your self-worth. And it is really important to, confront all of those negative ego stories that come up. And I think that imposter syndrome is like so, so, so common. And I believe it's like a tool of that addicted part of your brain. Like sometimes the addicted part of your brain doesn't just say, go have a drink or go hit the vape. Sometimes it has to like make up a whole story in order to get you there. And sometimes the story is like chipping away at your self-worth in order to be able to convince you to get to that point. When you were in active addiction, did you have a lot of those negative ego stories?
Oh my God. Yeah. It was so bad. Like, you're worthless. And that's what paralyzes you, to make you not get up and do anything. It's like, well, why would I even do anything? Why would I get up? Why would I go get my GED? Why would I go to school? Like, why would I, stop drinking? Like, what does it matter? And that was like my whole life story. Like, that was like everything's happening to me, not for me situation where you kind of are blaming. And it's easy to do. It's easy to blame everyone else and not look in the mirror and be like, oh, like this is happening within, and like this is my own issue, Yeah.
When did you notice it starting to get better, or was it just kind of gradual and now you can only notice it like when you're reflecting on it?
Well, I will say, like, when I got sober, those negative thoughts obviously were pretty bad, but I really, like, tried my best to shut them out with walking and with all the things that I was doing, right? But I will say, like, around before I hit my year mark, I did hit a depression again. And that was really hard because I was really high up from the mania of being sober and quitting all these things. And, you know, I came back down. But I look at that moment in time as a blessing because it's meant to ground you again. It's meant to, like, get you back to a like an actual stable line and not too high, not too low. You're right there in the middle. And when that happened, I was like, fuck, like, this sucks. Like, I was so, like, on my sober high for so long. And now I'm like, I want to lay in bed all day. I want to start binge eating again. Like, I'm not moving my body as much, and those thoughts crept in again. And, you know, I will say they typically would have lasted a lot longer if I was still drinking because that depression lasted for maybe 2 months. And I know that sounds like a long time, and it was. But if I would have been drinking still, it would have lasted way longer, you know? I was like, okay, all right, girl, get up. Like, it's time to stop with that. You just have to really, like, look at yourself in the fucking mirror and be like, shut up. Like, you're being ridiculous. Like, it's fine. Like, get up and do something. And I know that's, like, easier said than done. It's hard to do that. I'm not saying it's easy, but you really, I know people hate to say, like, fake it till you make it type stuff, but it really is something you just have to, like, do. Like, I know it's hard to look in the mirror and be like, I'm beautiful, or like, I'm courageous, or I'm brave, or I can do this. It's hard to do, but you can do it. And the first time you do it, you might cry and you might not believe yourself, but eventually you will. And yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I definitely, like, in the worst of my addiction, thought I was a fucking worthless piece of shit and I absolutely hated myself. But then at some point I realized, like, oh, why would a person who hates themselves do anything to try to better their situation?
Exactly. It's literally makes no sense.
And it is amazing now that I, like, literally love myself.
Yeah.
Like, so much. Like, I can look in the mirror and my first thought is, like, I fucking love the person that's looking back at me, and it is amazing.
And it's so radical to be that way. So many people want you to hate yourself. So many people live in that mindset, and that, I will say, is one of the hardest things that I've had to deal with getting sober is, like, the radical things that you do that people just can't fathom. And maybe it's because I am on, like, social media and stuff, and social media can be its own, like, black hole. But you can feel when people are like, maybe she thinks she's full of herself. And it's like, no, I just love myself. I love to, take pictures and post on Instagram. Like, that's, like, one of my creative outlets is, like, putting on a really cool outfit and, like, doing some really fun, like, modeling in my eyes. And, like, that is creative to me. And I look at that and I'm like, oh, I love this picture of, the background or the outfit or the whatever. And, like, that is, like, I love myself. And before, I wanted to hide. I never wanted to be on the internet. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to, unless it was at a bar, I didn't want to be in a picture. I didn't want to see myself. Now it's like, I see myself and I love her, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I definitely think self-love should be culturally normal, especially for, like, women and queers and fucking fat people and disabled people 100%. And people of color and, like, all of the groups of folks that are, historically told to feel small. So
exactly.
Yeah. That radical self-love thing it's fucking cool.
Yeah.
And of course you can take it too far and be full of yourself, but, like, I think anyone that has the ability to be like, I made a mistake and I'm saying sorry, there's a super healthy balance to self-love and having accountability, like, all in the same picture.
100%. We're human. Like, everyone's going to make a mistake. And if you're not making a mistake, you're not trying, like, fully. And we are definitely, like, coming into this new, like, generation of, like, people not wanting to make effort because they're scared of rejection. They're scared of being cringy or whatever. And it's like, I don't want to live my life like that. I don't want to live in a bubble that anyone, or a box that anyone has put me in. And I definitely want to be myself and show that. And, when we were younger, like, there was, like, Zanga and MySpace. Did you ever have that? MySpace?
I remember MySpace, yeah.
Like, And I just remember when we were younger, we would say anything on there. like it was crazy. And yeah, we were young. Our brain wasn't developed, and we were just kind of like spouting. It was like a diary. And there was like a sense of like just vulnerability and honesty that I loved about that time in my life. And I believe that we lack that sometimes because we're so scared of like the repercussions of like being honest and like open and if you're going to get canceled or this or that. And it really does make it to where, no one feels good to stand up or to say or to do or whatever. And I think we need more of that. Just like be cringy, post what you, whatever. Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yes,
like, It doesn't have to be political. I mean, does that make sense?
100%. Yeah, just like being authentic and being yourself and not basing it on what other people are going to think about you.
Yeah.
I've heard like a couple catchphrase little things that really resonate with me about social media, which I don't have because I know it's super unhealthy for my life personally. And one of them is, don't compare your insides to someone else's outsides.
Yeah.
Like social media is people really just like usually heavily curating this filtered perfect version of themselves.
100%.
And then when people are viewing that and they're living inside of their own flawed mind and body and they see all of these curated perfect images, that's just like not a practical thing to compare your insides to someone else's outsides.
Yeah.
And then another thing I thought of, I think it was just like a title of someone's YouTube video once, but they said, if they can't handle your cringe, let them choke on it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I do want to touch on like the Instagram thing. Like mine is very curated. It's very like, here's a hot photo. Like that's like, get to know me. And then you'll know that like, that's not reality. Like it is just in my bio, I literally have comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes, that's
because
a good one.
I also have to remember that. Like it's very easy to see something, oh man, I wish I had that. No, I don't even like as soon as that I'm like, no, get out of here, thought, not happening. I'm not going to compare myself to anyone ever again. We're all on our own journey. And yeah, when you're scrolling, just like remember that like this person has a whole story that you don't even know about. Like it's just one photo, and yeah.
I have a very nosy question that you don't have to answer.
I love nosy. I'm the nosiest person in the whole entire world.
Oh my gosh. So last time you mentioned not dating and having been intentionally celibate for that portion of your recovery. Has anything changed in that? And where are you at with like dating and your romantic life and stuff now? Nothing
has changed. I'm still celibate. I just hit 2 years in September, the day after my birthday. So still celibate, not dating, not on apps. I have a Raya, but like that's just because my friend was like, just try it. And I was like, sure. So I'm on there, but I literally am never on it. Like, and not dating. I have no desire at all, which is kind of like, sometimes I'm like, is something wrong with me? Why do I not want to be, like, I'm young, like, this is the time. But you know what it really is that school and work take up so much of my time. I think if I wasn't in school, I maybe would be willing to date, but I can't and will not let anyone distract me. That's like my main thing. It's like I was distracted for the first like 10 years of my adult life. Like from 19 to 27, I was distracted by men and distracted by drinking and all these things. It's like, I just want peace. And the peace is no one's son or daughter, coming in and trying to blow up my life. And not to say that there aren't people out there that could be a good partner for me. And that's another thing. Like, I'm not celibate in like a religious way. I'm celibate because there's no one around that I'm like finding worthy of letting in that way. I definitely am like I need like emotional connection first and foremost. And in my previous life of drinking, it was random hookups. And then all of a sudden we're dating 6 months later. I'm like, how did I get here? Like, how did this happen?
Why are you living in my house?
I don't even really like you. How did that happen?
Yeah.
And we're not even really that compatible. So I think that's my main thing is this next season of my life, and has been since I've been celibate since 2023. I I'm not like, I'm just waiting for the right one to fall in my lap. It's not even that. I just don't even think about it. Sometimes I'm like, maybe I'll meet them in my new career because we'll have similar interests. But yeah, I just don't want to be distracted. And like I also will say, I definitely think like being on birth control, I have to be on birth control because I have like either cysts on my ovaries, endometriosis, I have polycystic, there's something going on down there.
Yeah.
So hormonally, I need to be on birth control so I don't like have flare-ups. And I think that when you're on birth control, you can have no sex drive. So I think that's another thing, that there's no like drive for it emotionally or physically. Like, so yeah, still celibate, not really. I just want to watch my shows on my couch with my dogs. I don't want anyone to be like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like just let me live. And that's the thing. I need to find someone that's just like gonna be in love with just who I am as the person I am and not try and change me or any of that.
Yeah, that all makes sense to me. You found the balance in your life where you have your routines with school and work, and then you have your relaxation routine, and it's all fucking balanced, and there's not really like time or energy to upset that balance. And I've actually been reading this really amazing book called Love in a Fucked Up World by Dean Spade, and it talks a lot about radical approaches to relationships, and it talks about the romance myth as something that we're all brainwashed with, that we have to have one partner and blah, 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 or we're not whole and this type of stuff. And it's just been a really cool thing to read, to be like, no, we can all have whatever emotional and a relational balance we have with the people in our lives, and it doesn't need to be like, oh, I am seeking a marriage with a life partner, and that's the only way to feel full.
Yeah, it's the whole like myth, of like romantic love is the only love. That's not true. And it's definitely been something that's been brainwashed into us. I mean, just the other night, someone was asking me if I was dating. It was someone that I was serving at work that's kind of a regular, and she's like, well, it'll happen, don't worry. And I'm like, I'm not worried. That's the problem. I don't give a shit. Like, I really don't care. But people some people can't seem to grasp that. Like my aunt, she's been single for like 30 something years at this point. Like, she had one marriage and he sucked, and she never went back out there, and I love that for her, and she's so happy. And that's the point, right? Is that why are we putting women in these boxes that, oh, she's the old mean hag because she doesn't have a husband, like that type of vibe? And it's like, no, she can love herself and be alone, and that's okay.
Yeah, also, like, let's normalize people that are, like, on the asexual and aromantic spectrum or whatever, too. Like,
definitely feel that.
Yeah, let's normalize that and let that be. I've
been saying that. I'm like, I think I'm asexual, and, and that might be the case, but I really do believe that it's because I need, like, emotional. I need you to get me, and I get you, and I think, we've been taught that you get intimacy through sex, and that's not the fucking case. No. I need you to want to talk to me and have a conversation.
Crazy thought.
Crazy, I know.
Cool. Thanks for letting me ask nosy questions.
No, if you have any more, please. I love nosy questions.
I want to check the spam messages one more time to see what else you had mentioned.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We went over anxiety and studying and testing, staying positive, not listening to self-doubt, navigating work, school, relationship, sober. Well, you haven't mentioned from the spam messages that the hardest thing for you to do is clean your apartment.
Yeah, let's talk about cleaning. I fucking hate it. Like, I was just joking the other day. I finally put away my clothes that live on my dog crate. My dog crate is just like a mound of clothes that I just like sift through. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's definitely, there's always going to be that one thing, that someone has. And I definitely think it's like an ADHD thing. Because when I was on my medication, like, everything was done every day, But some things do fall to the wayside, and you're human if that happens, right? Like, it's not the end of the world. So, yeah, I mean, definitely, I put my clothes up the other day, and I was like, yeah, that felt nice. And, we'll see. I'm sure another pile of clothes will come up. And literally, that's a metaphor for life. Like, you just, like, find time for it, and you sift through it, and you eventually get it put away, and it's fine. And yeah, I mean, Yeah, cleaning sucks. I hate cleaning.
Definitely an ADHD thing.
Yeah.
Have you thought about where your thoughts at with having been medicated and now not being medicated and intentionally being off pharmaceuticals? Like, do you go back and forth with that? Like, where are you at with medication and ADHD?
Right. So I got put on it when I was 7. I was on it on and off like till I was 16. I got off at 16. I got back on at 22, 21. I got off again and I got back on. So there's always going to be that like voice in the, back of my head, like you could probably be better if you had some Adderall. But I really hated my personality on it. And I know there's like some that you can do that are non-stimulants, and I love that for people. And if it works for you, great. But for me, I'm not willing to go down that slippery slope again, solely because I love myself and I love my personality and I love that I, kind of bounce around and all these things. And so I have no desire on going back. I found my groove clearly with school. I have straight A's. So obviously you can find a way to make it work. Is it harder? Yes. But nothing in life comes easy that's worth it, I think. So if it's hard, that means you're doing something. Like you're really overcoming something. So I have no desire to get on any medication ever again. I really do believe in some ways that getting on it at such a young age exacerbated my addictions, for sure. I mean, you can imagine being 7 years old and like on like 70 milligrams of something. Like you're literally like can't sleep, can't think, can't eat, and because you're on crack.
And you don't understand what's going on either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then whenever you are off of it at an older age, you're finding something else to fill that void. So I really do believe it kind of added to my addictions. So I wouldn't want to even like go down that route. I mean, I'm that type of person. I don't really even like taking ibuprofen or whatever, I mean, I felt weird if I take too much Benadryl because I'm like, this feels kind of like a Xanax. You do get what I'm saying?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, for some people, it's definitely got to be all or nothing.
Yeah.
I'm curious too, like last time we talked a lot about the traumas that you'd been through, and then you had a bunch of like recent death and was experiencing a lot of grief and stuff. Where are you at now with your grief and then that healing from the trauma that you'd been working on?
Yeah, that grief, it definitely comes and goes. And I have my moments where I'm planning a trip to go to Belize in February. I'm really excited.
Hell yeah.
It'll be my first time out of the country, and I'm really pumped about it. And we're leaving on it would be my stepdad's 52nd birthday. And he was everything to me as a kid. He taught me how to skateboard. He lit all the fires, for everything I wanted to do at a young age. And I was like, it like hit me for a minute, like, oh, he's not here, but he wanted me so badly to get my passport and to travel. And so it's just the fact that it landed on his birthday. I get these little signs is basically what I'm getting at when it comes to grieving. You get these signs, I believe, like from them, and they're like telling you something. And I get those a lot, and I lean into that. And, some people might find that crazy or like too spiritual or whatever, and that's fine. Like whatever works for you. But for me, I get these little signs from all the people that I believe are still here. Their energy is still here somehow, and they're trying to, be like, hey, you're on the right track or whatever. So, but I just let myself cry, man. If I'm feeling like I'm at home, that's the thing. It's always when I'm in my own little bubble and I'm like, damn, I'm thinking about this, and I let myself cry it out, and then I'm like, I always go back to they'd be so proud of me, and they are so proud of me. I was able to get sober, and they weren't, and I can do that for them and live this life for them. So anytime I'm having any self-doubt or anything, I'm like, do it for them. If you can't find it in yourself to do it for you, like do it for the people that had to leave this world and didn't get to have that chance. But yeah, I mean, it just comes and goes in waves, but it's so much easier to handle when you're sober. I will say that it's so much easier when you're drinking all the time and you're in your active addiction. You get stuck in those rabbit holes and you can't get out. But once you get sober, you can. You go through these emotions like so quick. Like you go straight through them and you're like at the other side, you're like, oh shit, I didn't last as long as I thought it would, you know?
Yes, and then when you're drinking, you're like suppressing it and it's festering and it's lasting longer and it's not getting processed or integrated or anything.
Nothing.
So.
Your brain, it can't. It literally, when you're sleeping, your brain's just trying to like figure out what to do with all the alcohol that you just ingested or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
It can't clean itself.
Totally.
Properly.
And it's obnoxious that in our culture that we're taught to drink for like every fucking emotion, but especially for grief. It's like, man, yeah, also my experience of it is just that it intensely exacerbates it, makes it like way more traumatizing, last way longer. And the times that like I've had deaths of loved ones in my life since I've been sober, it's just, I mean, it's obviously sad, but my ability to process it in a normal fucking healthy way, it just feels so much easier and so much better and so much more. I can accept it like it's death is like there's 100% chance that every single one of us is going to die. You know what I mean? So it's just like being able to learn how to process all of that shit in a healthy way instead of the cultural norm of suppressing it has been so important for me. So.
Yeah. We're all, like you said, we are all going to die. That's why today I came in with bleached hair. My hair is completely bleach blonde right now. I wanted it icy white. It's kind of giving yellow, but listen, it takes a while. You can't just go straight from brown to icy white. Like, that's the moral of this story. It takes a while. But yeah, really, like, life is too short. Like, that's really how I feel. And like, just, you know, put in the work any way you can, really. Yeah.
Was there anything we didn't get to that you wanted to talk about?
I don't know. I really want to talk about you. You're like, what?
I got the mirror shined at me.
Like, I feel like I want to ask you things, but, you know, it is an interview of me, so that's fine, I guess.
Maybe you can be the co-host and we can do my story at some point.
Yes, please.
Because y'all get little bits and pieces of my story here and there, but I've never, gone through
I would love to co-host
whole dang
that.
thing.
That would be so awesome. Yeah, because I really I'm really appreciative of all the work that you're doing and for this community. You know, the other day at work, I mentioned to a woman that was sober. She was like, so are you in AA? Are you in any meetings? I was like, no, I'm really stubborn. Like, I wanted to do it alone. And I know that's not always what people want to hear, right? We do need support. We do need community. I'm not saying we don't. But that kind of, I could feel like she was like judging me. And I'm like, the fucking AA, like they really, and I'm not all of it, but I'm just saying that moment I was like, she's judging me right now because I'm not, she literally to my face goes, well, that's not going to last forever. You're going to have to need a meeting sometime. And I go, well, it seems to be working for me so far. I mean, I'm almost close to 3 years and, you know, it really rubbed me the wrong way. And I'm like, I have to remember everyone has their own story and way that they got to how they're sober and how they stay sober. And I appreciate you for not being that type of meeting, you know?
Yeah. One of the hard parts about the way that the dogmatism of AA is that part of what they teach is that this is the only way and this way works for everyone. And if you're not doing it like we say it, you're doing it wrong and it's your problem.
And you're powerless.
Yeah. The unfortunate nature of the people for whom AA works for is that when someone's different from them, the structure of AA is that different people threaten their recovery.
Yeah.
Which is like, to me, it's like, do you remember that game Jenga?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a little stack and you pull out the little Jenga blocks until eventually it topples over. And unfortunately, the way I see the structure of recovery that is built in AA is like, instead of being a big, strong pyramid or something, it's a Jenga pile.
Yeah.
And as soon as someone pulls out the wrong block of your Jenga pile, it falls over. And for that lady, knowing that someone else can get sober in a way that's not that dogmatic program threatened her recovery.
Exactly.
So it made her scared.
Yeah, and it was very odd, and I had to do damage control after because I'm like, I still had to serve the table for the next 2 hours. Yeah, it's definitely like pressured a little bit, but I really do believe there's different ways. There, you know, it doesn't have to be black and white. It doesn't have to be one size fits all. It can be so many different things, and that's why I'm appreciative of what you're doing, because I definitely believe that giving people the knowledge and tools behind all these things is really what's going to lead them to success.
Hell yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
for saying that. Yeah. I had a long, hard road with AA, and if someone's doing AA and it's working for them, get after it. Like, I'm not like AA should be abolished. I'm just like, we just
100%.
need a million billion different other things that are different than that for all the kind of people for whom it does not work for.
Exactly.
And then folks that are in it who it is working for, try not to be threatened when someone else does something different, you know?
Yeah, and I will say it's going to strengthen that muscle of like being around people that are going to question you, that are going to tell you you're doing something wrong and all that. And you have to have that muscle of like, no, that intuition, that gut feeling like I'm on the right path. I'm doing what's right by me. And that's all that matters. And when you get sober, that intuition, that gut feeling comes back tenfold. Like before you couldn't feel these feelings because you're stuck in that loop. And then once you get out, you know better than anyone else. You know better than anyone, like what works for you, and just follow that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, normally I do the same 2 questions at the end, but I sort of just had something different pop in my mind since this is less of the story of addiction and more of the story of recovery for your follow-up. What do you think people don't understand about recovery?
What do I think that people don't understand about recovery? Yeah, probably just that obviously you're not going to be perfect. Obviously you're human. We have feelings and emotions and things are going to pop up, and it's how you handle it in the recovery process. You're not going to be 100% healed. That's just not the facts. But I do believe you could be 99.9% healed. I really do believe that. And don't let anyone tell you that you can't. And yeah, I mean, I think it's just handling those hard times in the moment and not succumbing to what you would have done in the past. And recovery is obviously lifelong. I personally live by, I'm never going to drink again. I'm not a one day at a time person. And everyone's different, but I know that for the rest of my life, this is my life. I'm going to live sober because of everything that's happened since I've got sober has been the most amazing thing ever. And once you get over that hump, like you're going to get to the other side, I promise you. Like you just have to keep going through these emotions, and things will come up like, you know, I mentioned like binge eating a little bit. Like things are going to come up and you're going to notice, oh, I'm kind of like, this is another addictive personality thing coming back up. Maybe it's not alcohol, but it's food. Like you have to go straight through it, acknowledge it, accept it, and find a way to overcome it.
Totally. Yeah. I also agree that it's like, life is obviously still lifing. There are challenges going to happen every freaking day, but I'm right there with you. You can get about 99% better. And knowing that there's challenges in recovery doesn't mean that it's a fucking reason to stay in addiction.
No, you can't chase like people chase happiness. Really, it's like just chase peace. Like happiness is attainable, but you have to like have peace to be happy.
Yeah, and it's all fucking temporary. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. It's fleeting moments.
If you could speak to someone who's working on recovery right now and is having their own ups and downs, what would you say to them?
Just keep going. Oh my God. Just keep going. You've got this. Let's go. Like, come on. Like, you can do this. Just don't listen to those crazy thoughts that come in that want to tell you you can have one, or want to tell you like whatever it is that you're struggling with. Like just go for a walk, like call a friend, go to a meeting if that's what works for you, hug your dog, like watch a shitty reality TV show, whatever it is that needs to get you through those like cravings that it comes and goes. It's a fleeting moment. Like just don't succumb to it. Like you can do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. That practice of recognizing we're having those thoughts coming up and acknowledging them and knowing that you don't have to latch onto them.
Yeah.
You can let them go.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm glad we got around to doing this. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Recovery Demystified. If you like what you heard, share it with a friend or rate and review us so we can reach a larger audience. Recovery Demystified is produced and edited by me, Early Brunner. Stevie Petet made our logo. Our beautiful theme music is by Logan Bragg. And our social media manager is Kaylee Bausch. We are entirely supported by your generous donations as a 501c3 nonprofit. You can find a link to donate in the description. May you be happy and free, dear listener.